Hi, guys. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this, our Future Leaders program, our Future Leaders webinar. I am very, very, very happy to see you here, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Madison Dunn from Absolute Internship, and our alumni, Charlie, from one of our cohorts last year. And later, we'll be joined by our mentor of entrepreneurship, Xavi Marlasca. So we look forward to presenting and to answering your questions at the end of the session. We'll first take an overview of the program, and after that, we'll dive into internship details, entrepreneurship details, alumni experiences, and at the end, we'll open the floor to questions. I'm Arantxa López. I'm the program director of Spanish Gap Year, and I'm joined by Madison here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Madison. I am the Partnership Development Coordinator at Absolute Internship.
We wanted to first briefly introduce who Spanish Gap Year is and who Absolute Internship is. So we are an experiential learning organization founded in 2014. So we've been here for a while, and we are now accredited by the Gap Year Association. So we'll tell you about what that means for you guys later on in terms of college credit and funding. And well, you know probably from our website that we have two signature programs. One is called Spain by Train, which we won't be talking about today. It's about learning Spanish and Spanish culture. And today we'll be focusing in on Future Leaders, which is a combination of internship and entrepreneurship with an element of Spanish learning as well.
A little bit about Absolute Internship. We organize international internships for students, gap year students and university students across a variety of different locations in Europe and Asia. Of course, today we're focusing just on Spain. But essentially we were founded in 2009, and since then we have placed over 10,000 students in host companies across our program locations. We work with over 1,200 different companies worldwide and offer over 30 different industries. So there's quite a variety of industries to choose from. And additionally, our students are coming from all across the globe. On average, in our program sites, you can see up to 60 different nationalities.
Thank you so much, Madison. So first of all, we wanted to show you the program structure. Now we're going to focus on fall 2025, which is the program that we are currently enrolling very actively for the next month. June 27th, exactly to the date, is our deadline actually. But the structure in the spring is the same, just the dates are from March to May. So what happens in the fall? We do the first month from September 6th to October 4th in Madrid, and months 2 and 3 in Barcelona from October 4th to November 29th. The housing is a little bit different in Madrid and Barcelona. We give you a softer landing in Madrid with a Spanish homestay so that you can do that language immersion and also have that extra bit of support from the host family. And you have half board there, breakfast and dinner with the host family, and a bit of freedom for your lunch, whether you want to have it at school or in the street, at the park, with beers, alone, while you're exploring before your classes and so forth. In Barcelona, though, you're taking a step further into independence by being housed in student dorms. You're going to be near university campus, surrounded and living with in the same residence with international students and students from all around Spain. So it's a great international atmosphere to make friends from the group and also from outside the group, which is sometimes really, really nice. So you could look at it as if Madrid was your preparation month for the action in Barcelona. So what you're doing is learning Spanish. You're doing Monday to Friday intensive Spanish lessons in the morning. And these are, depending on your level, you'll be in a class or another. We have levels from zero beginner to proficient. So you'll have a class that's suited to your specific level of language. And then we do an introduction to entrepreneurship 3 afternoons per week. So that's where you're going to learn all the basics that you need before developing your own business idea. We call it your entrepreneurship toolkit. So it's like a boot camp before we move on to the competition in Barcelona. So that's where we do business ideation. We form different teams to watch you guys work in different combinations of people. And also we do some cultural activities. So there's 1 to 2 scheduled activities per week where you know, they're in your schedule. We encourage you to come. These could be cooking classes, flamenco classes, museum visits, and urban art tours. And then we tend to do maybe a language exchange every week with board games, with concerts, where we come together with Spaniards, and they're really, really fun. And then you can also opt into optional activities like day trips. We sometimes have optional cultural workshops in different evenings, but these are, you know, if you choose to do them, because we have a lot of gappers who like to go to the gym or do their own thing, relax a little bit about after their afternoon classes. So that is for Madrid. Okay, we're getting ready. We're doing some mentoring for your internship and doing some internship specific orientation before you start work in Barcelona. So we moved to Barcelona October 4th. It's a Saturday. On Monday, you start work. Okay, and that is Monday to Friday from around 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. until 1 or 2 p.m. So you're working 4 hours a day for 5 days a week. After that, you have lunch. And in the afternoons, you have 3 days of entrepreneurship. And this is already working with your mentors, working on your specific business ideas and in teams. And one afternoon where you do your maintenance Spanish lesson, we like to call it. And then again, you can opt in or out of cultural activities. These could be tours to Sitges, to Montserrat. We may go to Girona, do cooking classes as well. And we love the mixer activities that we do with other interns from Absolute as well, where you have an opportunity to, again, meet other people from outside the group as well. So as you can see, once we're in Barcelona, it's all internship action. You're working, that's your focus, and the entrepreneurship competition. So, excuse me for a moment. This is what a typical day week looks like in Madrid. So it's quite busy. It's intensive mornings, 9:30 until 1 for Spanish. And then we're in entrepreneurship from 3:30 until 5:30, 3 times per week, as I said. And then once a week, you have the cultural activity. And good news, Friday, you finish at 1 p.m. and the weekend is yours. So this is where students choose to do some traveling within the country, outside the country. Usually the first month, what we see happening is that students are, you know, getting to know each other. They're making really good friends within the group. So we'll see different people in the group go to Alicante. We'll see them go to Sevilla, to Malaga. And after that, when we are in Barcelona, they start going further afield. So we've seen people go to Stockholm. We've seen them go to Croatia, Paris, because after all, you're in Europe, so you can make the most of your time here. This is what it looks like in Barcelona. As I mentioned, mornings, busy with internships, and then the afternoon activities, we do 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 p.m. And in the last 2 weeks before your final pitch, Xavi will speak about this later, we tend to do longer sessions because you need a lot of practice for your pitch, to prepare the possible questions that may come from the judges, and so forth. And then it over to Madison now for your accommodation in Barcelona.
Perfect. So as Arantxa mentioned, when you arrive in Madrid, it is a bit of a soft launch. I'm going to be with a homestay. And then when you transition to Barcelona, you will be living in a student residence. Of course, the whole cohort will be at the same residence together. Whether you're in a single or double room, we'll provide you with that concrete information closer to the program start date. And additionally, of course, you'll have a private bathroom. Something to note that linens and towels will be included, so there's no need to pack these in your suitcase. Definitely save room for souvenirs or anything you may buy while you're in Spain. There is going to be cleaning once a week. The cleaning is mandatory. It is required. Essentially, the staff are just coming in to change the linens and towels. They won't be going through your personal belongings. Of course, in all of the residences, there are some common areas. In some of the residences, there could be a gym, there could be a rooftop terrace. There is also 24/7 reception and staff. So in case of any emergency, in case you lose your key, in case you aren't able to get into the building, there will be a resident staff member who is on site that could help you. And of course, all of the residences are centrally located, so you can easily hop on public transportation to either, get around the city and explore Barcelona, or in some cases to get to your internship. So some of the most popular internship industries for gappers are entrepreneurship, and here we have an example, business development, which I'll show you another example after this, and oftentimes nonprofit as well. So the great thing about the internships, it's not grabbing coffee or making copies, you're really quite involved in the host company. Here, Owen was working for Knowledge Innovation Market. So a little bit about some of his kind of main responsibilities for analyzing market trends, studying technologies and making some descriptions, actually proposing ideas for public financing projects, and writing reports. So it's a very hands-on, these internships, especially within entrepreneurship. You could be placed in a small company or a startup. You really are working, hand in hand with either the CEO or the managing director or even the owner. And you could have a wide variety of tasks as Owen, so conducting the market research, collaborating with the sales team. You could also have kind of a specific project at the internship as well. Perfect. And then the other industry I mentioned, business development. Here we have another example from Ali. She was working at a fashion concept store in Barcelona. She had a little bit more of a communications role within business development, contributing ideas and references for campaigns, graphic design for social media and content creation. She also did some website design for them and even a newsletter creation. So there's a lot of possibilities within both industries of business development and entrepreneurship. And before you're placed with a company, we do have a call with you to really make sure that we are placing you with the best fit host company. So we want to kind of see your previous experience, whether you're involved in some clubs or some extracurriculars, or whether you are maybe developing your own company right now, for example. We kind of want to know this information to make sure that we are kind of contacting the best company for you, so that this internship is the best fit and that you can be successful afterwards. Perfect. So here we have some testimonials from some of the previous gappers. Oliver, the entrepreneurship part of the program has been run perfectly and was my favorite part of the entire program. The internship also provided me with a lot more knowledge on how to be an asset in the workforce.
And Oliver did an internship in real estate.
Then we have Grace. The internships were very well set up and I loved mine. I worked in the sustainability industry that I hope to work in the future, and was also able to work in Spanish to work towards my language goals. So something that's really important, at your internships, you will have an English-speaking supervisor, but of course, as you are also here to enhance your Spanish language, you will have the opportunity to work in a bilingual setting. So now I'm going to pass it over to Charlie, an alumni of the program. Charlie, are you able to tell us kind of the highlight of your experience doing the Future Leaders program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a ton of highlights. I don't know if I can pick out one specifically. But yeah, I loved every minute of it. I mean, I had already pretty well advanced my Spanish in my first semester in Costa Rica during my gap year. But then I went into these intensive classes, which were super fun. Um, Especially because in a lot of the classes I had like students that were from like all different countries and didn't speak English, so it was full Spanish immersion for people that didn't speak fully fluent Spanish. So it's cool. I loved being in Spain. Um, and being with the group all the time. Like my first semester of my gap year, I was kind of separate from a lot of people because I was just working by myself. But being integrated in this group the whole time was an amazing experience. I really loved that. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said before, I don't know if I can pick out one memory in particular, but I love the whole thing.
Amazing.
Thank you, Charlie. Oh, can I jump in and ask about your internship as well? Because you did a very special, it was more in the creative industry, right?
Yeah. So for my internship, I was working for a company called Veraclau, which was just one woman's jewelry company. So it was really hands on. I was really super involved in the work, which was really cool because it was just her and her designs. And so I helped her with stuff like SEO, search engine optimization for her website. I also helped her with some of her designs. She'd be sitting in the table in front of me and just kind of like playing with wire and like messing around with the shapes of like her jewelry, and she'd ask me what I thought about it, and I give her like feedback. I also helped find some like photography inspiration for some of her photo shoots. So it was cool. It was an interesting range of activities that I got to do, but it was very because it was just her. I was very involved within her business because it was just her and I, which is really cool. And I was also able to speak a lot of Spanish because she didn't speak too much English. Um, and so that was also cool as well.
Amazing. And what are some of the most important skills that you've gained from the entire experience that you've been able to apply to your professional life after the program?
The coming from the internship or the program itself.
The internship, the mentorship, the entire program.
Well, I think my biggest takeaway was connecting and networking and how important that really is. I don't think it's emphasized enough at all how actually important that is. Um, but my mentor Killian did a really great job of just telling me, "Oh, if you want something, like go ask around for it. People will know how to do it. People will help you do it." Um, like for my pitch, my mentor had the idea of using a model, and so we went and asked if we could go get a model, and Arantxa said, "Yeah, go get a model." And she gave me some suggestions for people to reach out to, which one of them I actually ended up using. So yeah, without that, I my pitch would not have been the same. Um, so yeah, I really learned that it's important to talk to people and contact people. Because a lot of times people try and do things themselves and you don't know how to do everything yourself. And a lot of people have been where you are before. So it's just really important to network. And that's really helped me in just my life. And also, one it's kind of a smaller thing, but living in a city like that and having to get to work and go around. I lived in like the suburbs my whole life, so I wasn't too involved in a city when going to school and going to work. So learning to navigate a city by myself and like a subway network was super cool and really helpful to as kind of like a survival skill because now I'm out visiting cities and I just kind of know how to get around, talk to people. But yeah, it really prepared me for everything, I guess.
Charlie, what about college? Because you're a year in, right? You just finished your finals. Have you
Yeah,
applied any of this to your college experience?
absolutely. I mean, well, what I just mentioned about reaching out to people, um, the thing about college is your professors are also real people. They work a job full time, and usually they're teaching like part time. So if you reach out to them, they will help you, and they're not going to say, well, you will get no's here and there, but it's worth asking. Like, oh, I'm super stressed. I really want to put my best foot forward on this assignment. Can I get an extra couple of days? Could I get some help with this? And yeah, they're real people, so they'll help you, and they're your best resources. Um, so yeah, I think connecting like that. I think I've made a lot of good connections within the people that I've met at school.
Mhm.
I've met some people interested in the same things. We've connected on LinkedIn, and I've seen kind of their projects. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's everything from this program is very applicable to. We went through the classes and just learning to balance like class life and getting your projects done, and also being able to have fun and travel and do the things you want to do. That I kind of had my first experience with in depth as um like a person, as a um an individual adult. I had my first experience with that in Spain, and so that was super applicable when getting to college.
Okay, and Charlie, you're also studying a creative degree, no?
Yeah, I started out as fine arts and moved into graphic design. Um, and so, yeah, did you want me to speak a little bit more to like what that's been like? Um,
Yes, well, I'm very interested in if your internship, since it was in the creative industry, also helped you transfer some skills to your creative degree.
yeah, I would say so. I think one of the main things about graphic design is that it's kind of mixed in with the business side of art, which is cool, and which is what I was involved in Spain. So having these kind of the knowledge of what an artistic and creative business looks like really helps me to know where I want to focus in on my graphic design, and how I can begin to apply this. Because as I mentioned before, I did some website work, um, and did some like photography inspiration work. So it's really just yeah. So it applies very directly. I mean, graphic design is all of your website and your image. And I really helped her out with some of that stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm just learning. And when I helped her out with it, I was pretty inexperienced. So it's kind of trial and error. And now I'm learning the skills to actually be able to do that at a professional level.
There you go. Okay. And you've mentioned networking several times. I had
Mhm.
mentioned to some of the fall gappers that making a LinkedIn account and starting to use a LinkedIn account to grow that network with your mentors, with the judges on the panel, is something that we do during the program. Have you actively used LinkedIn since?
Yeah, I've used LinkedIn a lot. I've connected with professors, and I've connected with some other students to kind of look at like projects. And it's kind of funny because when you get to college, I feel like before college, it's like, oh, let's get each other's numbers so we can stay in contact, or Instagram or whatever it is. Now in college, it's like, oh, let me get your number and let me get your LinkedIn as well so we can we can connect. Because
Nice.
people are now looking to make these business connections. Um,
Absolutely. I'm
yeah,
so
and
glad to hear that.
yeah, and I even recently posted like, I think you saw, I posted some of my works from this semester on my LinkedIn to just kind of show my network what I've been doing with myself since my gap year. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, we saw, and we see you guys actively all the time. I was telling Vincent as well that we stay in touch very actively, and that we have an alumni network that the gappers can join once they have completed their program, so that we can continue that support and connect you with paid internships, possible jobs, and stay in touch with the people that you met in Spain, like your mentor, Xavi, who just joined us and who is
Mhm.
here to speak about the entrepreneurship program. Xavi, welcome. We still have Charlie here if you want to ask him questions about his entrepreneurship idea later on. Charlie, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Charlie. Happy to see that everything's going that well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Should I go, Arantxa?
Yes, absolutely. Please take it away.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So nice to meet you all. My name is Xavi Marlasca. I'm from Barcelona, and I'm the mentor, the professor that the students have normally during this experience. So I can tell you a bit more about the details of the entrepreneurship program that we are normally doing with the participants. The idea is that we are helping them to create their own business, their own startup, or sometimes not startup. No, it depends on the digital factor of itself. Let me try to share my screen so I can show you examples of that and even the assignments that we're normally doing with the students. So can you please confirm if it's working?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So this is one of the files that we share and we use normally with the students with the different assignments in which you will see that we guide the students step by step. I will go to the most important slides for you to understand the process. So, for example, we start with the brainstorming exercise, of course, to understand and to identify what would be the best idea for the students to carry out from a long list that they are creating themselves, thinking about the different problems that they can have as students, as young future professionals, etc. So they are trying to think about pain points or opportunities, room for improvement areas to then identify what businesses or what ideas they believe that they could carry out to improve that problems. We start with this brainstorming process, and then you can see this tool, the Puke matrix, in which they are ordering all the different ideas with different criteria to find which one would be the best one. And then for the best one, we start creating the AdLib, which is this formal structure that is very famous in entrepreneurship to explain how our idea should be understood, who is our target, and then how we differentiate from the competitors, as you can see in the bottom part with the unlike. Then we have an introductory pitch of the adlibs of these ideas to proceed with secondary research and primary research. And this is very important because this is also connected to the both hard and soft skills that the students are developing during the process. Because as you can see, they are learning by doing. So it's not a theoretical exercise. They have all these secondary research activities to perform, benchmarking, social listening, digital audit, which is mainly about website and apps. But they also have primary research to perform, meaning that they will interview potential clients, interview stakeholders, interview suppliers, experts of the industry, of the type of business that they want to create. They will also perform mystery shopping or shadowing activities, which means kind of pretending to be a client from the competitor that they can more or less have now, or observing in the case of shadowing. And they will also create a survey, a quantitative market research technique to gather information from potential clients of their business idea. So all of this, you can see that is super hands-on. That's why we emphasize that this is both about hard and soft skills with practical experience. We explain all the techniques, of course. Now we have some theoretical sessions. I didn't mention, by the way, but I'm a professor in the University of ESADE Business School. It's one of the top business schools in the world somehow, and also an EU business school. So some of the materials, or at least the methodologies and content that I'm teaching to the students of the Future Leadership program are based on these best practices that we teach to the university, bachelor and master students. So to keep going, we then list all the outcomes from the primary and secondary research. And once we have all these outcomes listed, we can create the pestle analysis to understand better the context. We can create a Porter analysis to understand better also the different barriers of entry or exit for the business, and also how to interact with competitors. Then we create a TAM-SUM exercise, which is a kind of market sizing deep dive, let's say, with 3 different levels of zoom in. And then we move to the customer persona plus customer journey map, which means that we need to understand who is our client and what are the potential interactions that they would have with the company that they are creating. After that, we create also the website, and we teach the students how to do that in a simple way with some tools like the ones that you can see in the screen that are like drag and drop tools that are very easy to use and to have a small MVP, minimum viable product of their website ready to show to the investors. Then sometimes we also do the user acquisition test, which is a kind of proof if the MVP was successful or they need to change any detail. Plus the business model canvas to structure everything. So this is a framework very famous also for entrepreneurship and in general to understand business and how to structure business models, in which we are identifying the different key parts from a business model in a very, very structured and consolidated way. So everything that I was showing you till now could be connected to this part of value proposition, customer relationships, customer segments, or market context. But then we also teach them about how to fill in the backstage, it's called, of the business model canvas, which includes key activities, key partners, key resources, etc. Then we also need the financials. Sorry, I skipped this part too fast. Here in the bottom, the financials, cost structure, and revenue streams. And for this part, we teach them mainly about the 2 most important KPIs for investors in this type of exercises in real life, which are the customer acquisition cost and the customer lifetime value, and how to calculate some ratios and some numbers that are normally useful for investors when deciding if the business is a good idea or not to put their money into. After that, we also practice, of course, the final pitch. And this is very important because we are preparing the students also on how to deliver. So connecting again to the soft skills that we mentioned before, we prepare them, we give them feedback about how to communicate with impact, with body language, voice modulation, eye contact, all these hand gestures, scenario control tips, all these things that we're also teaching to managers in the university and even MBA students sometimes. These are the type of best practices that they learn with the sessions that we do together. So we do this mock pitch at the end to then give them 3, 4, 5 days to apply the feedback, and then keep doing mock pitch till the final one, in which they are shining in the final pitch in front of the tribunal that are normally also, I don't know if you explained that, Arantxa, or not, the tribunal members profile, no? That we had always top executives, directors, investors. I remember this last occasion, even someone from Amazon coming, faculty, experts in the entrepreneurship industry, all of them ready to evaluate, to assess, and to give feedback, even more important, to the students about the business that they are creating. So as you can see, and sorry because this is a lot, no? I'm summarizing an entire course in just 5 minutes, but you understand more or less the idea. The summary is that there are a lot of tools, a lot of frameworks that are really practical, really useful, like the ones that we are teaching to management students. And apart of all of that, I want to emphasize also that we have some extra sessions, let's say, called workshops that are more gamified experiences. So even if we are helping the students every week with their project, we also have these 3 sessions, normally 3, 4 sessions, in which we have a workshop that is more interactive. Like I remember a gamification about Agile and Scrum with a paper plane competition. Or I remember another session we did with a waterfall project management role play, in which the students need to put themselves as the first day of being a consultant in a Big Four. In this case, Deloitte, which is one of the companies I'm coming from. So I put them in my shoes, not Xavi of 15 years ago, trying to understand what are the challenges I had to face as project manager of a real case. They are exposed to all of that. So we always receive great feedback from these workshops, gamified sessions as well. I believe that was more or less a good summary of the experience. Maybe to finalize, just clarify also that these last editions, they were with me on Mondays, meaning that they have this more professor or mentorship related session on Mondays. And then during the other days of the weeks, they also had 2 sessions with facilitator, that is a colleague with whom we are very coordinated to ensure that they are guided also, they have support and advice on how to develop all the things that I'm teaching them on Monday. So then they have the facilitator to help them on Wednesday, on Thursday to carry out all these tasks. And Arantxa, it was the perfect 10 minutes, if I'm not wrong.
Wow, very well done.
Yes.
That was an excellent summary in just 10 minutes. Thank you so much. One thing I wanted to add is that for their final pitch, it's very much like Shark Tank, if you've ever watched the TV show. And in fact, last week we wrapped the spring program, and one of the business ideas, the actual winners, got a yes from a judge on the panel, a yes for investment. So this is the big goal. Sometimes they give feedback and they tell them that they'd be happy to mentor them going forward and to come back to them in a few months when their business idea is a little bit more developed. But this time, one of them said yes to investing now. So it can happen. And we're very, very excited about that. So before we dive into accreditation information, I'm going to pause here for questions specific for Xavi, if you don't mind, about entrepreneurship, because he only has a couple more minutes before he goes into his next class. So thank you so much, Xavi.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to open your camera, your mic. No questions for Xavi?
Sure, I'll ask a question. So how are you guiding students on like developing a business when, you know, they're 18, they're fresh out of high school, and, you know, their, you know, own background is going to be limited to their existing kind of business experiences, right? So how do you, you know, guide them into developing, you know, Shark Tank worthy business ideas?
Thank you. That's a great question. And it's the main challenge that we have, of course. So it's not easy, but we are guiding them, understanding the starting point. So we are not expecting a super high level as a starting point or pre-context or pre-courses. We teach them how to make it starting from zero, regardless the background that they have, and making it supernatural with empathy. Like we're trying to solve a problem that you have. I don't know if you can guess the type of business that they are creating, but all of them are problems that they are suffering as students or like real things where they need help. So then for them, as they are motivated and they understand the problem, if I give them the tools, I give them the framework and I explain them how to do it step by step, it's easy, no? It's not easy, but let's say that it's manageable, no? So we can guide them through the process step by step. But the key part, I would say, is this engagement, because they feel empathy with the problem, so they are motivated, and then I just need to give them the tools, the frameworks, and teach them how to do it, motivate them.
Okay, so you really are having them focus and look inward on their own personal experiences and their own personal problems that they're aware of to solve. Got it?
Yeah, I can give you examples. Look, I have here one, if you want. Let me share again my screen, because I believe it's a good example. Can you see it again? Yep. So this was one of the teams from the 2 editions ago, and they started with this quote: 0% of schools have mental health education covering the important problems. And they created this business, which was physical education and mental health. Physical education and mental health, or mental education, meaning that during their business model canvas and all the business that they suggested, they are suggesting that in physical education mandatory courses that they normally have at school, students can also have some material or some curriculum related to mental health. So there are some mandatory classes or some mandatory content that they can be exposed to about mental health. And how they arrive to that conclusion is because they are also suffering, some of them, this type of issues, or they have friends that have this, etc. So at the end, is about this empathy, that I was sharing before.
Got it.
Any other question, doubt?
No? Well, Xavi, thank you so much. We'll let you go. We know you're busy, so thanks a million.
You are very welcome. Happy to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Before we move on, I just wanted to add to that, the challenges that you mentioned, Gary, and that Xavi mentioned are real. And we know that 18-year-olds need help with accountability, need help with time management, with communication. And these are skills that we work really hard on with them so that they can be a little bit more prepared for college or for the workforce as well. Their supervisors from their internships also give us feedback on this every week at the start and every 2 weeks while they're settling in. So we work hand in hand with that. And we give them tools that they can learn to use for project management, time management, and accountability mainly. So tools like Monday.com or Trello, they learn how to use. All right. Okay, well, I would like to share a little bit about our accreditation. So I believe it's relevant to some or all of you. So we are accredited by the Gap Year Association, as I mentioned in the beginning. And this means that you can earn college credit through our Future Leaders program, up to six college credits. And you can earn those from internship and from your experiential learning experience. So the experiential learning courses are about leadership development and about self and culture in experiential cohorts. So this is all about reflecting on group dynamics and negotiation, group culture, and so on. So there are two very interesting courses developed by GYA and our School of Rockford, University of Montana. And it also means that you can access the program via 529 plans. So that is a link that I'm going to share with you later on by email if you'd like to find out more. But please feel free to ask me questions about accreditation when we open it to the floor. And just a few more details. You're probably familiar with what is included already, but just to go through it very quickly. The program fee for Future Leaders is 17,400 euros, and it includes absolutely everything from when you get to Madrid until you leave from Barcelona. So that means you have to organize your own flights, but we do send a recommendation to you guys so that you can fly together, or if you're already in the country, you just meet us in Madrid city center. But before we travel, we do several sessions with you guys. So what we are doing is, first of all, we do your first contact call, which some of you have already had with yourself, with your parents. And then once you are signed up, then we start your one-to-one interview so that we can assess your Spanish. You can tell us a little bit about any personal needs that you have for homestay, for the dorms, so that we can make really good matches. What we do in terms of your internship prep as well, you will prepare your resume with us and we will help you improve it before you do your interviews. You'll do interview training with us and then your real placement interview. So you can ask Madison about this now in the Q&A. We'll share our onboarding resources with you, which is a Spanish culture course and the language training subscription that you can use before you arrive to practice your Spanish. And we'll give you access to our online learning platform and course materials prior to arrival too. So in that platform, you will find everything from packing lists, itineraries, addresses, your contract with your internship company, etc. Once you arrive, as we said, everything is included. So you have transfers from Madrid airport. We will wait for you at Barajas airport, meet you there and take you to the city center where you will meet your host families. And we do transfers when you depart as well to Barcelona airport. You have half board accommodation for the first month. That's breakfast and dinner. And then in Barcelona, depending on where we are staying, you either do half board or you have your own kitchen. Generally, there tends to be a common kitchen as well, which our gappers love to use to cook together. So we make a thing of that. We shop together and we make dinners together, and it's a lot of fun. You have your transport between locations, so the train between Madrid and Barcelona. You have the entrepreneurship program included, your work placement with Absolute, with all the prior to arrival process and the support during the program. You have your language classes, your cultural workshops, and all of your activities included. And you have your college credits as well. So this is all from us. You know our website already, so I won't bore you with it. But if you want, you can book a call with us, or you can sign up to our newsletter or leave me your email here via private chat so that we can send you any of the reference links from the presentation if you're interested. And just something to keep in mind, again, I mentioned in the beginning, we have a month from today to sign up to the program. The deadline is June 27th, and we have 4 places available for this fall. So I would encourage you to reach out as soon as possible. And thank you so much. We'll open the floor now for questions.
For the professional photo that you add with your application, is this like a standard passport photo or like a photo you'd put in for your like professional LinkedIn profile picture or something like that?
It's like I'll let Madison take this one.
We highly recommend that it is a photo that you may then post on your LinkedIn, especially since you'll likely be developing your LinkedIn. Of course, if you don't have that at the time, we recommend, a clean photo where you are semi-professional dressed, a clear background. We will have this on record. And then of course, if in the future if you allow us to use you in one of these presentations or for promotion, then it's always nice to have kind of that professional photo as well.
Cool, thank you.
Gary, you had your hand raised.
Yeah. So my question is, have you ever had situations where gappers have changed homestay families mid-session or have had to change their accommodations and their rooming situation when in Barcelona? And if so, why? Tell me, and I'm sure there's lots of reasons if so, but I'm interested to know what they were and how you've addressed those in the future.
Okay, so in terms of homestay, it is rare, but it's happened once or twice. And I can give an example from when Charlie was on program, actually. 2 of the boys were living together in a house that was too small for 2 people. And the hosting experience for them in terms of food and relationship with the host was not ideal. So this is not what we vouch for. And what we do is have backup families ready in case we have to make that move. But it is the last resource, and what we try to do is mediate between the family and the student, because sometimes it's a perfect environment, but there's been some miscommunication when either the family doesn't speak much English and the student doesn't speak much Spanish, so there's a language barrier there. So we come in and first of all mediate, make sure that everything is as it should be. And then in other cases, if it's to do with food, which sometimes there's a bit of a culture shock at the beginning, we also mediate with the host and the student because sometimes they're catering for someone who is vegetarian or who might be eating only chicken, not eating pork, and some of the hosts are not used to cooking very varied food specifically for that diet. So we come in and also give them resources so that we can improve that or make a change. But again, if I count the 11 years that we've been working with host families, I may count maybe 4 or 5 changes, and I'm not exaggerating. I don't think, Emma. So generally, they're really, really positive experiences. And so then in terms of dorms, sorry.
I was going to say, when we put a lot of effort into matching them well in the first place to try and minimize this, but things happen. But as long as you're able to deal with them when they do happen, it gets straightened pretty quickly.
Do the gappers meet the homestay families at all? prior to arrival, like online or virtually?
So we share the details with both the families and the students 1 week prior to their arrival.
Got it.
So we encourage them to always reach out via WhatsApp or organize a video call. And if they wish, so we can be there. The most important thing for us, and this is very important to keep in mind for the gappers attending, is that they are vocal and they communicate, they express with us whatever they're feeling and whatever is going on as soon as possible. Because what we see with some of the nationalities is that you're almost too polite to tell us how you feel. And then we hear about it 3 weeks after the fact when we can't do anything about it. So what we do is check in one-on-one with every gapper once per week, so that they have that space, that safe space to talk to us and say, actually, no, I didn't like this, or, could you speak to the host family, or could you help me speak to the host family? So we try to check in as much as possible to make sure that everything is going smoothly. And then in terms of the dorms, Madison, you'll be able to speak to this a little bit better, but what we do at the beginning, the rooms are fantastic, and most of the gappers, when they see them, it's like, oh my god, I've never seen dorms as nice as this before, because they're used to something else, especially those who are already in college. But Madison, many changes, not with our guys anyway.
No, not really common with gappers. Of course, in our general programs, yes, there have been instances, especially in shared dorms, where a student does request to have a private room or a single room because of an issue with the roommate. This is sometimes a last resort. We always kind of speak to the roommates with our on-site staff member. We have a conversation, all parties involved, to better understand the situation. Of course, if there's any very serious allegations, then we do remove the student, immediately from that situation, and we would place them in a different room. But that happens very rarely as well.
Have you ever had a
And one more
situation where a gapper
Sorry,
has left
go
the
ahead, Karen.
program early?
Pardon?
Have you ever had a situation where a gapper has left the program early?
Not with this program yet.
Got it. Got it.
Luckily.
That's good.
We did have one person who was let go from their internship last year, but we didn't fully agree with the company's decision, because the gapper didn't get a chance to make things better, for lack of a better expression. So what we did was arrange an alternative internship for them and make sure that they could at least successfully complete this second chance, and they did really well in the entrepreneurship program. So normally no, but we have sent people home from other programs because of reckless behavior. So generally speaking, if they're disrespecting someone in the group repeatedly, or if they're drinking over the drinking limit, which we have, you guys will have a contract. Charlie knows that they have to sign off on a 2-drink limit, because we know that you guys are 18. You can drink in Spain legally, but we don't want to go to the hospital to find one of you guys. So what we ask is that they socialize sensibly and with people who are safe, and while eating. So we do a little bit of training on that in orientation, but it is rare that a gapper will break the rules so much that they get sent home, because I think they value the opportunity. Any other questions, you guys? No?
Well, I'll ask a question, because I know it's been asked to me in some interviews. So the range of internships available and the kinds of companies you could be working in, that might be something that everyone's interested in.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier on the slides, for gap year students specifically, we kind of do narrow down the range of industries, just because maybe, obviously they're in their gap year, maybe they haven't started university yet, maybe they are lacking some of the more technical skills needed in some of the industries. So we typically focus on business development, entrepreneurship, and a nonprofit. Now, within those industries, we work with a wide range of host companies. So you could be doing business development within a fashion company, for example, as we previously mentioned, or a company that's focused on sustainability or zero food waste. The range is quite wide. Furthermore, the company size is a little bit more on the smaller side in terms of number of employees. Why? We want this to be an intimate experience for the students. We want this to be very hands-on. So definitely, expect to be working in a company of maybe 10 people or less. So you have kind of a more prominent role. And then the types of host companies as well, you mentioned. Well, as I mentioned, a wide variety. Before you even have an interview or you're placed with a company, you do have a call with your internship placement manager to really, seek out your interests, kind of if you have personal interests in, let's say, nonprofit, for example, you're super invested in women's health, for example. We definitely take note of that, and of our internal list of host companies we work with, if we see that you have a certain skill set that company would be interested in, then we do pass your resume along and try to arrange for an interview there. So we definitely tailor the internship a little bit to each intern.
I had a question for Charlie, actually. I see that he's still on. Are you still there, Charlie?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things I think that's tricky is your kids to me. You're going away right after high school or sometime, right? And you're leaving all your friends and all your family, right? And you're going to be away for 3 months.
Yeah.
And so you've got all these new connections that you're making, and it's a small group, right? Like I think you were saying, it could be 6 to 12, depending on the program size. So I'm just wondering, like, maybe you yourself found great connections. Like, how did everybody do? Because you kind of have to care about everybody in the group, right? So how did everybody do, best you can tell, from their social, like, not feeling homesickness, feeling bad, feeling like they weren't lonely, and things like that?
Yeah, I would say for my program personally, we were already like a very close-knit group, but there was 2 or 3 of the other students in my group that kind of spent their time elsewhere. There was one kid that kind of liked to spend his time by himself a lot of the times. And there were 2 girls that found their own groups and spent a lot of time with them, went out with them.
I see.
And so as far as I've seen, like, people, what's that?
Those 2 girls made connections, you mean, with like another group of people that they met while traveling?
Yeah, so the really cool thing about our stay was we were in the University of Barcelona, so you're surrounded by a big community of other students your age, which was really cool. We found events through them. We made friends with a couple of them. Like, I used to play basketball with some kids behind the university. I was close friends with like a boxer from Australia. It was cool. I feel like most people did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, it's Spain is a huge community. There's a ton of people there, and especially the kids our age are super inviting, and really look to kind of make connections with us. And yeah, I mean, the group obviously is like a great option too, because I still am in contact with some of my group members. I was actually just I was just with one of the kids from the group about 2 days ago. I was just with my friend Ollie in Connecticut. But yeah, I mean, you make great connections. The group will always be there. The mentors will always be there. And as for homesickness, you're busy all the time. So um, you're really keeping your mind moving and your body moving. So you kind of don't have that time to focus on being homesick, which is nice for anybody who would kind of feel that. And I'm personally very comfortable traveling and being away from home, but I just felt like but everybody has those moments where they miss home. But we were just constantly doing stuff, which was great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I add to that and ask Charlie, for the three people that you mentioned, do you think that even though they were doing their own thing in their free time, were they included when you guys were in class as a group and working in your business idea as a group?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a group chat of everybody from the group in it. And so any plans made were the majority of the time made in this big group chat, including, like you mentioned before, our trip to Alicante, where we actually organized the entire group to get down to this little beach town. We stayed in an Airbnb together, went to the beach together. So yeah, everybody was very included. The group was great, and especially because you're in classes together and you're working on the projects together, you have an opportunity to spend time with the whole group and different sections of the group. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were there other opportunities, like you have obviously the 10, 12, whatever gappers together? Are there other at other university, like with some of these classes where you had other people coming in regularly that were like making like an extended group within the gappers, or was it just mostly gappers?
Well, the majority of your time is spent with the gappers, so naturally I was a little bit closer to them.
Right.
However, in the Spanish classes, you're in the Spanish class within Madrid, so a lot of people are also within the school with you. And in my class in particular, I was with this girl Allie from my cohort and a bunch of other students who were some of them were international. I remember there was a kid from China that didn't speak any English, so it was kind of cool. On our last day, we all went out to a nice lunch together, our class.
Yeah.
And we were speaking Spanish at the lunch group because that was the way we could all communicate together. So yeah, I definitely made connections outside of the cohort. And you'll be around people. And of course, if people are looking to make connections, you can always ask Arantxa and the rest of the group, and they'll have opportunities. Like there were some of it was the American Club meetings. I think there was something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
So there will always be
we attend some networking events as well, so that they can practice that side of their professional career. But one thing I wanted to say is that at the beginning, we tend to do a lot of activities to build the team, and it generally gels really, really well at the start. And what tends to happen is that 2 weeks in, some of the gappers come to us privately and they're like, I'm totally burnt out. I can't do this much socializing. And so we mentor them so that they can gently maybe, take their time out solo and do their own thing while still being really, really well connected to the group during the scheduled time. But we definitely see gappers that a few weeks in, their battery is not charged from social time, but from rest and being on their own.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, we're 10 minutes over time. So if there's no burning questions, I think we'll leave it at this. And we're going to follow up with an email so that you can connect, but please send any questions. And thank you so much for coming.